Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second live stream in CrescoFin history. This time we've got YouTube for you too, and we'll be keeping an eye on the comment section, obviously. So here's how today's going to go. As usual, we're going to be checking on our managing directors, and then we'll go to some interesting questions you've been asking from social media, and finally we'll go over to your live questions and thoughts. So join me in welcoming Elsa.
Welcome, everyone.
Felix, and the big bosses, Robert, and Derek and Monty.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
How are you doing?
Hey, guys. Monty's looking for a mouse in the back garden here, so he's otherwise distracted, but good to see everyone.
All right, so tough week, last 2 weeks. Our latest contact to the community in this format was last week when we had a community call, and we really loved it, that sort of fireplace chat. And well, it was a bit more of a relaxed format than this one. And here we are to answer your questions. So shall we start, guys, with the first one?
Yeah, perfect. Let's go.
Awesome. So the first question we have, what's your take on this whole CS green cell situation?
Well, I think for somebody who's asked that, whoever's asked that, thanks for the good question, because it goes right to the heart of what we do as CrescoFin. And just to give a bit more background for people that are not so familiar with the situation, is that Greencell was a supply chain and receivable financing company. It went into administration not too long ago, leaving a lot of companies and almost 50,000 jobs hanging in doubt. So how they did business, they were lending money to the companies to pay their suppliers. And the collapse was related to two things. It was related to their insurance policy not being renewed. And from the limited reading that I've done, it seems like they knew this problem was coming for several months about their insurance. The collapse was also triggered by Credit Suisse calling a loan for $140 million that was financing some of these receivables. Another practice that they had was raising money by packaging all the lending that they were doing into bonds and selling them into the market. And as most people know, this was the whole premise of mortgage-backed security and securities, and I think we all know how that worked out. So what differentiates CrescoFin as how we do business is that we actually never lend money. The way that we do business is that we buy the actual receivable that's owed to the supplier, or that's owned by the supplier, and then we are owed the money ourselves, and we insure that payment. So what that does is that then we get the credit insurance that's linked to that payment and not linked to any bankruptcy events. So the second part of this is that the entire Greencell event is a bit of a double-edged sword right now. It does have institutionals on a bit of the back foot, receivable space, but it leaves us with a very large pipeline of opportunities. And so the preliminary feedback that we have from some of our institutional is that although they're a little bit scared of the space, they would welcome any kind of transparency with a blockchain solution. So it may take some time to get them back into the space, but we believe that it's well worth the effort.
Okay, amazing. So just in good time, we see Amadeo show up on the screen.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, Amadeo.
All right, great. So I think that's a fairly good overview. And shall we move to question number 2 now? People are saying they're missing WCRAS USDD pairing from Dodo. Of course, everybody would love low fees. So is there a plan to make that happen, for example, on Phantom? What do you think, Derek?
Well, we don't have any immediate plans. We're really focused on delivering the software and our product to the community. And, for anybody that, again, that's new, the WCRAS and USDT, we had that pool on Dodo for quite some time from the beginning. And as an update on the, I guess this is an aside, we're still working to resolve the hack issue because we had that pool until it was hacked. But the big issue when we ran the two pools together in terms of the USDT on Dodo and the Uniswap was the arbitrage, and that's an issue, for all of our community. And I'd worked it out at some point during the process. It was over $100,000 that this Arbot had just taken out of the pool. It was taking it home every day. We still see some of these bots that are working, but if I say to people all the time, if we had to do this again, I would set it up happily, but have control and be able to run the Arbot ourselves, because then we could pour the money back into the community, back into the company, or just use it for Chalet Crazy or something, something novel like that. But we do recognize fees on Ethereum are going up. I think that's probably a phenomenon of what the wave into the DeFi space is doing. But for anybody that's buying it with something other than Ethereum, we'd recommend using 1inch, because you do have your choice of B token on that. And we are in a discussion with them for a larger partnership going forward. And in terms of the arbitrage as well, they have an option of making an order private. And between that and using their Kai Gastos token, it does seem to take out the sandwich bot, which is working. And I think there's a lot of people other than us that are having some fun with sandwich bots. That's the biggest risk with any larger order. So we're happy to look at this. The issue of having an ERC20 token on a cross chain is not a simple one for us. And then it does create an arbitrage. What do you do? Can you move it across chain? So with everything we have going on, that's a pretty big hill to climb. We don't really have the resources to address it right now.
Okay, I see. And you mentioned moving forward. Well, there are some people that want to see how we're moving forward in the next steps for the team and for the app. What's the main focus now, if it isn't for Phantom? What do you think, Amadeo?
Yeah, shall I take that? Yeah, so I heard Phantom. I didn't know what you mean by that, but
The Phantom Network.
okay. So yeah, the next steps for the app. Basically, now we're like setting up a rockstar in-house developer team, and we're building very hard on like getting the first MVP out. And I think the next steps are to like if you are in DeFi, and especially when you're building in DeFi. I think Derek just said it actually in our call very nice. It's like a fishbowl look. So everything you look becomes like very broad, like, wow, there's so much possibilities. And we really, we pull to that back to now, the first MVP with a core banking infrastructure with a saving product. So, and then later all the DeFi integration. I think this is a unique approach for any DeFi project, where we take basically a banking infrastructure and banking first approach. So we're tackling the problem just from another side that everybody else is trying to tackle the problem. And we think amazing new possibilities will come out of that. So, the next step for us are, setting up the team more. We're actively hiring and looking for developers. So if there's always any community members, we always love to work with community members. So if there's any good Golang or React Native developers in the community, we're looking for help. We're looking for like more dev resources. They're very scarce nowadays. So we're always looking for that. So that would be great. And so that is the next step, setting up the MVP, taking a banking infrastructure first approach, and expanding the team with more amazing people like everybody here and everybody in the community.
All right, great. So what about the first version of this app? It will be our MVP product. What can we expect in terms of functionalities?
Yeah, so in the first MVP product, as I said before, like we're taking this banking infrastructure first approach. We're normally in the DeFi projects, there's like many weird and interesting, but also crazy yield farming opportunities, where of course we are not gonna take that approach. We're gonna take a banking infrastructure first approach, where we build first the CeFi integrations and make sure that we have actually our integration with Currency Cloud and our banking partners, and with all the all the compliance factors that we need to take there in place. We will go from this approach in the MVP with a saving product as well, and then we're gonna go into the DeFi side and build a bridge so that people can easily enter into DeFi. And I think this approach is very unique in DeFi or crypto at this point. So an MVP is first going to be probably really banking infrastructure first focused. So it's going to be really bare bones in the beginning, and then later we're also going to add savings product, cards, and then the bridge, and then amazing crypto opportunities that will be insured. So that's kind of like the steps that we want to take.
Okay, so definitely a unique product, but this unique product needs to be uniquely marketed. So the question now is, Robert, what kind of marketing strategies have we got planned on product rollout? Are we going to target a specific audience first? Are we going to go after crypto natives, TradFi? How do you see this?
So that's a great question, thanks. And we've been working a lot on it over the last couple of weeks. We've actually put one of our advisors, Damien Horner, to some really serious work on this exercise. So Damien's the co-founder of Real Vision together with Raoul Pal. It's one of the most, disruptive financial media companies in the world. Damien has an amazing background working for Amazon, Microsoft. He's worked for J.K. Rowling. I mean, he's a fantastic guy to work with in terms of how Cresco is being presented to the world. So he's really working on the Cresco story. Of course, Derek and I, when we founded it, we basically founded it because we were just pissed off with banks, and we thought that we could do something better using technology and insurance. And so Damien is really working on the meta narrative, and what he's come up with is similar, of course, to our vision. It's Cresco as the bank alternative. You're going to see us in the next couple months as we get ready to the launch of the product, and as we do our increasingly progressive rollout, involving our different advisors, Real Vision, the amazing advisors we've got, like the guys from Bankless, friends, and family, kind of like Jessica Walker, who did our interview series as we led up to our listing. So yeah, we break down our marketing by geography, age, institution, or individual, and also whether you're crypto or fiat. But our big picture vision is essentially to bring the benefits of crypto, the benefits of DeFi, to traditional users. So it's not particularly designed for crypto people. We have a huge interest from the crypto community, I think, in being with what is essentially going to be a bank alternative that is very crypto friendly. You're able to hold lots of different currencies in your fiat wallet. But we're really focused on mass adoption. That's the idea. So yeah, so there's amazing marketing stuff that's coming, and we're working hard on it here.
Perfect. All right, so Derek, over to you. Can we get WCRES whitelisted as collateral on Aave? People want something, do something with their WCRES while they're waiting for the app release.
Sonny gave me this magic wand the other day, and now we can do whatever we want on Aave. So it's quite a wonderful thing. But from a serious point of view, getting anything onto Aave as collateral is a governance issue within Aave, and it would seem that we don't have the market depth right now to do that, because you have to look at what happens in a liquidation event, as well as the fact that it is a security token. We're trying to hide from that. But the Cruise token, our stablecoin, is the next proposal that we're going to flow with on Aave. Right now, it's in the process of regulatory ruling, so we make sure we know exactly what it is and how to treat it. So the best thing to do with your WCRES right now is probably to provide liquidity on Uniswap for us. We'll be reviewing the new Geyser protocol V2 when it comes out, because it takes this element of the being able to gain by whales and deplete the pool. So we'll have an update on that as soon as the guys come back to us with their new protocol.
Okay, amazing. So onwards to question 7.
Okay, so question 7 is a question for Slavian, who's our marketing. Loved some of the logo designs you showed us last week. The hexagon is my favorite. Will we have a say in the decision? So what is it, Slavian?
Well, dear community, it's very, very simple. Who are we building for? It's for you, but it's for the thousands, the hundreds of thousands, the millions that are going to come right after you. And of course, you are going to have a say in the decision. We need to think of what's best in order for us to expand, but also in order for us to be recognizable. And who best to tell us if we're recognizable enough, if we're good enough, if you're proud to show the brand to your people, to your friends, to your family, than yourselves, the early community. So yes, we're applying the right techniques, we're applying the right methodology to create, to develop. But once it's out there, we're going to need your opinion on what works best and what you're proud to say is Cresco. So a resounding yes. So
Amazing.
all right, for number 8, Amadeo. How's the progress with dev hiring? I think you've got a lot to tell us on this front, don't you? You seem to be on mute, Amadeo.
Yeah, so a lot of progress has happened, and we have a lot of like interviews and a lot of people, but we're very picky. We only want to work with the best, and we want to work with people that can handle building a core infrastructural product like banking infrastructure. So these people obviously need to have good background. So we're selecting the best. We're having interviews. We're having tests actually. So every developer that joins needs to make a test. And then if they pass the test, they go like to the next round. And if they go to the next round, we have another like interview. So we're testing them extensively. And also, of course, if they fit with the community and our vision. So that is from our part, it's going okay, but it could be better. It seems the market is very heated up at the moment, not only for DeFi, but also in more centralized finance. We see that it seems that a lot of venture capital firms, they just throw money to apps, just build an app. So all the people that have any skills in React, Golang, or anything, or like C, or everything is very occupied at the moment, so to say. But we're making progress, and probably once we have a little bit more clear outlook of the exact team figures, we can present the new hires to the community as well.
And we're super keen. We're super keen to also involve the community in it, right? We're having like many people from the community who've like offered to help, and it's like it's really great, So reach out to us.
Yeah, and I actually already have a couple of people from the community that reached out to me that I'm now in talks with. So if some of us didn't get back to you, sorry for that. It's a little bit busy, but please ping us again, or bump up your message to us, and we will definitely give you our tests to pass to join as a CrescoFin developer. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So, Amadeo, another question for you. Is there any upcoming project that seems to target the same type of audience that we're trying to now? Are they somewhat putting pressure on our plans to go quicker, to cut corners, to go into the market?
Yeah, well, we will never cut corners, so to say. Well, we want to do things right. We want to do things, correct. And I mean, that's what's needed in the crypto space, right? There are so many projects that cut corners just to pump the price, or do a yield farm or whatever, right? I mean, we want to do things correctly. But yes, definitely, there's a lot of projects out there that are trying to innovate in the space, and I would say we all encourage all of them. And because eventually we all have a shared goal of making banking more inclusive, getting more people to understand crypto. So I would say all competitors just help the space forward and just make the cake bigger, because the space relatively is just still so small that only anybody that enters and wants to expand the space is actually more than welcome. There is one article that I want to point to on this fact in our new forum.crescofin.ch, where I talk about like the level of traditional financial flows moving over into DeFi or crypto. and the amount of the ETH price that it would be then. So I drafted out, this was an article by Arthur Hayes. It was very surprising that he wrote that article. And you can see in there that once like, I think it's like 10% and it's already like 40,000 euro ETH, or, you know, any other base layer, of course, that we will sync to. It's amazing. So basically I would say, yeah, there's competitors that are also trying to increase more adoption in the space, and we are happy with all of them, and they also keep each other sharp. Yeah, right now I don't see any other competitors that really take such a banking infrastructure first approach. Of course, there is applications that use like ramp or whatever, like that you can just transfer your fiat in, right? But I don't really see an app where you can actually really have a bank account and transfer that over. It has multiple reasons, and that's why it's hard. I mean, the more in the future, I see more and more banks doing a similar thing that we're doing, and that would be very much welcome, because we were basically the first at that point, and also hopefully the fastest as well. And Robert probably has something to say about this as well, I believe.
Well, you know, it's interesting because from the TradFi space, you know, there is always competitors. I mean, there's new competitors every day. The market's hot in crypto, but it's also hot in TradFi. And, you know, I'm on all these, like, you know, whatever industry lists, and I follow like new fintechs that are developing new things. And, you know, I mean, it's a little bit arrogant, but my overall view is that they're all trying to do some amazing things, you know, because they're trying to like whatever, make the UI, the UX experience better, but like it's arrogant because I think they're building on the wrong tech stack. I think if you're not building in crypto, it's not going to last. So that's why we have Amadeo and our amazing tech team. So that's my take on what's happening in TradFi.
Okay, well, your take's very important as well, because you wrote a whole book about your take on crypto, and it hints at CrescoFin as the solution to banking issues, to basically everyone's. So is there going to be a new book about the experiences that you've lived through with Cresco?
Derek and I joke about it. So thanks about my book. I appreciate anybody who's read the book. It wasn't actually a hint about Cresco as the solution. It's like, that's the solution, you know, to this TradFi problem. But Derek and I joke a lot about writing a book, but like, I think it have to be published after we're dead. I mean, like, and we can't believe it. It's only been, right, Derek? I mean, it's been like, what, since November when we started, and like,
it seems so long ago. And then as we were joking, as the whole Dodo thing happened, it was like chapter 12, and then we got hacked. And then we were joking about we were joking about just how crazy crypto was, and then next thing we know, like, you know, we did Dodo did actually get hacked, but you know, there's just some things that coming from traditional finance we've gotten used to, we love about the sector, but like, you know, in the beginning it was like the green frogs, and like couldn't figure it out, and like, you know, most of them seem to be like, you know, have joined us because they were interested in Elsa and like her Twitter feeds, and we were like, oh gosh, I hope somebody really like buys into Cresco. So we're super delighted that such a big community has developed. But yeah, I mean, the book would be hard to believe for most people in TradFi. So I still got somebody raised the question the other day, like, here in Geneva, somebody said to me, you know, there's still a dog with sunglasses on your website, because they like made some joke that the website's been hacked. So, and it's not Monty. So it's not Monty. No. Monty's the chairman. That's funny. So, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so moving on to question 11. Is it possible that every week we can communicate on what we're doing and what we're going to provide, whether an image or just a text? So does anybody want to start, or should I give my thoughts on it?
You can give your thoughts, but Amadeus also created the forum, which is, you know, I think is going to be a, you know, means for us to kind of update people. So we really encourage everybody to go to the forum and like have a number of these discussions. And we also will be dropping news and ideas and stuff into the forum. But what do you think, Slavian, about like something more formal?
Well, I think the forum is a very good first step in order for us to keep contact, I mean, daily with the community. We already have the Telegram, we already have the Discord, but we're not extremely active. I mean, if you compare us to some other projects, you're going to say, they're much on the quiet side, because we're always working, inventing, trying new things out, seeing what works best, and only then we come out to the community with these ideas. We normally don't make announcements, but that's not really what's needed here. What's needed is a direct point of contact, and you always have this with us, from everybody, from Felix, from Elsa, from me, up to Derek, to Amadeo, to Robert. We've got everyone you can count on, you can talk with. We're usually pretty active. And in terms of our work, yes, I think this aspect is something that we have to improve on. We have to let you guys know with more frequency what the main focus for the week, for example, is. So I think this is something we're going to do more in the forum, but also on other channels.
Yeah, not just with what's going on in terms of work. I mean, what's going on with the team as well. You have to guess, but somebody has a really big birthday coming up, and I think we should have our meme contest. First of all, you got to guess which one of us has a birthday, and then come up with a good meme to say happy birthday.
I lived my whole life for this, because I'm born like a few months before Derek. But unless you're referring to Tyron,
really,
what's Tyron?
Old.
No, Tyron's birthday is in January.
So we won't tell you the exact date, but we can start a contest for birthday
I know
memes.
which one it is. Ironically.
That's funny. That's funny. It was a vintage year when Derek and I were born. It's very good wine now. It's very good wine now, if it's still drinkable.
It is.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's not wine, there's
French
cognac.
girl knows.
Yeah. All right, so
Okay.
Elsa, I'd like to give this over to you. Question number 12.
No, I think 12.
12 might be more my remit.
Yeah, let's go with Derek.
I just want to take it, Elsa. Go ahead. We covered this a little bit earlier. Is that we're really focused on the software right now, and if you look at the tokenomics right now, we have about 10% of the total tokens in circulation. And to get into more DEXs, we need more tokens to come off lock and get them into the system. So just keep buying them, and we'll keep unlocking them. But at the end of 6 months and then 12 months, we'll start to look at if we can create liquidity pools. Because the situation, as I said before, having the two pools, the Dodo pool was almost twice the size of the Uniswap pool at the time, but the volume was about a quarter. So it's it was a factor of 8 of what we looked at the arbitrage opportunity between the two of them.
Yeah, and I mean a cool thing here to say, it's of course like what decentralized DEX pool we will be on, and I think it's important to know like we need to have sufficient, as Derek also says, sufficient volume. We don't want to have like bots, making away all our profits, etc. But cross-chain is actually a very interesting topic, and we're also looking at that. But we're treading very carefully, because it's basically regulated shares, right? We cannot just have them get lost or something like that. So that's something we need to look in seriously. But we're doing our research.
Okay. So here's number 13. All right, Elsa, you want to take the lead on this and ask people?
Sure. Wait a minute. So, is it possible to set up a guaranteed deposit limit so that more people can deposit their funds? History of not seeing a guy landed with 50 million and blocking everything?
So that's a great question from obviously a whale in our community who has 50 million bucks out there. That's great. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. So, you know, only in crypto, right? It's like my shares or my tokens are up like 1,000,000%. And so look, we have, you know, we've taken a very very sophisticated approach to KYC, AML, and ongoing transaction monitoring. Because we all know how annoying it is with banks when, you know, you've got payments, you've got transfers, and they're stopped, and they're like, you know, they're just basic things. Like, you know, even here, like we have like a company that helps us with some, you know, back office stuff, and like that's blocked because like whatever, our bank needs to ask us questions about it. It's just silly. So we've invested a lot actually in integrating with like a sophisticated onboarding system, which is Verif. We're going to have like an ongoing transaction monitoring, which is through Comply Advantage. This is all integrated into Currency Cloud and Accomplish on the fiat side. On the crypto side, we're also going to have some transaction monitoring, you know, to the extent that we need it for our compliance reporting. It's just to make things smoother, especially for our, you know, our fiat crypto bridge. So yeah, so the idea genuinely is that you can tell us in advance you got 50 million bucks that you made in crypto, and you're going to transfer it into the account. That's great. We're going to make sure that it's a smooth process for you. So all those things we're hoping with Cresco that they'll run smoothly. But you know what, on the fiat side, it's the fiat side. It's never going to be perfect, but it's where we're putting a lot of work. So
okay.
So should we move on to the next question?
Sure.
Have you already signed a contract with customers company to use Cres?
So Cres is our equity token. So it's just the same as owning a share. It's like owning a share in Apple or Tesla or something like that. If you mean Cruise, that's our stable coin, which is in development. And with that, we haven't signed any contracts yet with people to actually use the Cruise stable coin. But Derek and I talk about it all the time. So. And MakerDAO, we're working on it the other day. So we actually will have an announcement coming up sometime, I think, about this bridge and how Cruise will be involved.
Wow, I can't wait to speak about that.
So now we have some questions from the community in French. So we're going to switch to English and French. And we do encourage people to ask us questions in all of our different Telegram groups. So we've got groups in like the Swiss languages. So we've got it like in German, French, Italian, obviously in English. We've also got it in Spanish, and we might develop other groups. So feel free to ask questions in the Discord or Telegram across any of these languages. So next question is from Felix to Elsa.
Perfect. Well, let's hope my French isn't too rusty. Can you remind me of the community of the token unlock dates and team advisors in ETC? And could you tell me that, and then I'll ask you the question in French.
So some of the equity tokens from the team have already been unlocked, and to be honest, no one has no one has asked anything about selling. Some may sell small amounts, but it will never be the founders. The advisors. Luck comes off at the end of May. I know that Derek is looking into putting in place a managed process where unlocked tokens can be sold in the future. We will let you know in details, and we can find most of the infos on our Medium at crescofinmedia.com.
Parfait. Et est-ce que tu peux me dire un peu plus à propos des dates quand le déverrouillage des tokens va se faire pour les advisors et l'équipe en fait en général?
D'accord. Alors certains des tokens d'équité de l'équipe ont déjà été débloqués. Et pour être honnête, personne n'a posé de questions sur la vente. Certains peuvent vendre des petites quantités à l'avenir, mais pas les fondateurs. L'unlock pour les conseillers se déclenche à la fin du mois de mai. Je sais que Derek cherche à mettre en place un processus contrôlé qui donnera la possibilité de vendre des tokens unlocked à l'avenir. Et on donnera plus de détails en y arrivant, quoi. Et on peut trouver toutes ces infos sur le Medium de Chris chriscoffin.medium.com.
Eh ben, c'est génial, merci pour tout.
Très bien. Okay, Elsa, has Cresco asked Aave if if we could be their bank? So, toujours en français, Cresco s'est rapproché de Aave pour être leur banque.
D'accord. So no, that's a great idea, and we should talk about it to Stani. I'm sure he would appreciate it. Mais non, c'est une excellente idée et on en parlera à Stani.
Très bien. Slavian, peut-être on peut pas. We'll go in English now because this is or maybe I'll ask it for maybe I'll ask it for Amadeo. So the question is with the MakerDAO development, will our stablecoin work similar to DAI? So I think it's a question of like, can you imagine a Cresco stablecoin that kind of works like DAI? Maybe everybody knows that Amadeo has a deep background in Maker, Maker. So
yeah, so like I'm not a MakerDAO developer, right? So I'm a MakerDAO decentralized organization member, and I'm the ambassador for the Netherlands. I did work with MakerDAO already over the years, and it's one of my favorite projects. I did dive into the code, and any developer in this call should dive into the MakerDAO code. It's a lot of fun to watch, and it's like it's a very interesting code base, so to say. There's a lot of like references in the code that are like reference to spells and games and stuff. So it's very, very funny, but it's very well and very smart written. So it was a bit of an Easter egg I wanted to put in there. Will MakerDAO will the USD token work with DAI? So, well, this of course is an option, right? Like when we have a good stable bridge, and when the stable coin is made a name for itself, we can of course be considered to work as collateral in MakerDAO, maybe or maybe not. In general, this is the whole different philosophical discussion about should MakerDAO have any stablecoin collateral, right? So I think this is it's quite an in-depth community discussion also for MakerDAO and the decentralized organization to have. I would say probably the Crest USD token would not be a direct part of collateral in MakerDAO. What could be collateral in MakerDAO is maybe the WCRES tokens, right? Or other like more security or real-world asset-like tokens that we can create using the C-layer contract that we have also built it WCRES on top of, right? So I would say the CRES USD, probably not as collateral, but other assets we can originate with using the similar way that we used CrescoFin. Yeah, definitely MakerDAO would be very interested in that, because the main focus for the MakerDAO protocol is to add more and more real-world assets to their collateral package, so to say. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, cool. So last question here from the community. So this is for Elsa. It's English and French. Le taux de rentabilité en euros se lève à 1,5%. Pour un Européen, c'est bien possible de contracter effectivement l'offre en dollars à 3%. So the rate of interest rate euros is 1.5%. If you're European, is it possible to have the USD savings rate offer at 3%?
So yes, we're going to offer fiat wallets with 34 different fiat currencies. For the savings product, I'm sorry, you will be able to choose between dollars, euros, and francs. So yeah, Europeans can have a basic account in dollars and place money from their basic account to a saving account in dollars. Et oui, nous allons proposer des portefeuilles en fiat avec 34 devises différentes pour le produit d'épargne. Vous pourrez choisir entre dollars, euros et francs. Donc oui, les Européens peuvent avoir un compte de base en dollars et placer de l'argent de leur compte de base sur un compte d'épargne en dollars.
And that's it. That's the popular social media questions we have for this week. But as we promised you, now comes the second part, where we take a look at the comments that come from YouTube, from Twitter as well, and we take a look at your questions. So which ones you'd like to start with?
Funny, like DeFi, it's a funny joke. DeFi is the future of France, right? DeFi is the future of finance.
It is.
Fix it up.
So we've got great material here. Let's see. For example, this one.
Yeah, that's a good one for MakerDAO. Look at that.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting discussion, Mr. Liquidity. I don't know how to pronounce your username, but it's a nice question, and yeah, we're looking really. So the nice thing about taking this banking infrastructure first approach, it's going to be super cool because we are good boys. We will create bank accounts and you know we're regulated. We will onboard people, and once we have that. And then we basically have a check mark by the regulator, and it's just like, okay, we're doing everything well, right? So then it's like we need to see how far we can walk without getting a warning sign or things like that. So probably like, as far as I understand, the question is that lots of projects like DEXs miss both KYC, fiat, off bridges. So wondering if it's possible for them to have something like a pay with Cresco, confirm ID, Cresco, maybe. Yeah, so I would more say that people with the app, they can use the app and then get into fiat. We will release more info about the bridge later. I will not say too much about that just yet. But they will probably get into crypto, and then if they don't want to go to the DEX, they can just go on the DEX via our APIs, right? So if the DEX wants to work with us, you know, the DEXs can contact us and we can integrate different DEXs. We're now looking at OneInch and we're looking at Paraswap and Aave. And of course, like in the future, we want to listen to the community, what they want to use, and then we can onboard these different DEXs, and then you can just from your app, you can just use those DEXs, etc. And if you, yeah, so that's how I think I would explain that way. Do you agree with that, Robert? Or?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, the idea is to make it really seamless and easy, right? To go from the fiat world directly into DeFi. I like the idea of confirming your ID with Cresco as well. You know, because we're putting in place like a sophisticated KYC system, which means it's supposed to be as painless as possible. I know many people in crypto don't really love like KYC, but you know, regulated companies. So, and we're trying to appeal to the masses. So there's no way around it. But it'd be kind of cool if like maybe you only do your ID once with Cresco, and you've got like a white labeled address. So there's a lot to work on. So I love that. That's great. We should create something like that in the forum, I think, MakerDAO, and be getting the devs to look into that. So
there is actually, if you spot it, I will actually link it in the chat. There is a forum thread about like, hey, how should we approach KYC levels and how should we do that? And how can we release funds, or, you know, if of course your private key, or how do we hold private key, or do we give users control of their own private key? We have a lot of discussions on that as well. And I would say that, you know, prove with your identity, you can get your funds back, etc. And I think very important as well is that KYC information stored in the, you know, we store KYC information, but when a government or somebody wants that KYC information, they need to show us, you know, like bad intent, and if they don't, they shouldn't give your information to anybody. So we cannot look in the information ourselves. We only can see certain data points. And if a government comes in and says like, yeah, oh, this, we have some intent of this person doing something that we don't like, okay, they need to then prove to us that that's actually a case, and then we can release information. But that's the way we should think about KYC. And I think then also more crypto people, more people would feel more confident of giving identity information if they don't have any bad intent. Yeah,
it's a good point. It's also one of the reasons we're here in Switzerland, because if you're going to be anywhere for a crypto project, I think it's here. I mean, there's widespread support for crypto. The laws are very, very clear. But also for KYC and ID, like Swiss privacy laws are really severe if you like share information that you shouldn't have. It's a criminal thing. You can go to jail. So obviously we wouldn't do it out of the spirit of crypto, but it's also really protected by Swiss law. So cool. That's a good idea.
Ties basically into this comment from Emilia. Yeah.
Well, this is again, it's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons why we have invested a lot in this, in our in the software and the partners, and we're going to try and make it as like simple and easy as possible. But so the question is, the government, the Swiss government is obviously like requires like all these basic information. You do have to provide the origin for your money. So if you're the same guy who's asking to transfer in $50 million in advance, like we do have to say that you made that like whatever, like farming yams or something, or if you're transferring in from the from the fiat world. There's a big difference with a bank, though. I mean, we're very technology led, right? So and banks are not. So, and we have a very common sense approach to it. Often banks go way beyond what is just required by the government. I mean, there's a certain level which, of course, we apply here at Cresco. There's certain basic requirements, but banks go like so much further beyond that, and some of it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, you end up like really inconveniencing people that are making small transactions, and at the same time, as from fines, if you look up like fines paid by banks for like facilitating money laundering, huge clients like transferring vast amounts of funds because they're important to the bank, and they pay other fees to the bank or let go. And our idea is we treat everybody exactly the same, and we do the basic requirements. So let's hope we don't end up like a bank. That's for sure.
Okay, so we've got questions about plans for SX, the fees. Fees are a very big issue for our community. We know this. We also have this interesting question here. Why is Cresco keeping the WCREST float only at 10%?
It's not so much that we're keeping it. I mean, as we said before, we have 1.9 million tokens that are about to come off lock at the end of May. Of that, I think it's 1.1 that are already unlocked. So it's not that we're keeping it. There's been a staged series of locks and releases, and people are always scared about dumping. So Rob and I pushed the locks out on our tokens to 1 and 2 years. So we would love to have more liquidity in the system. Just you look at the tokens that are unlocked right now internally in the team, and nobody wants to sell. So it's a good problem to have, but it's not that. Yeah, so it's not that we're keeping the float; it's that the float is staying there. So we and on the previous question about talking to any kind of sex, it's we have had several conversations, and the two are tied in. Is that we need more liquidity in the system.
Okay, great. So Amadeo, we know you encourage everybody to apply because skills are often broader than this core specialization. So what do you think? What would you say to Stan?
Yeah, so we need people with Golang experience and people with React Native experience. So we're really first going to develop the app. but I think maybe, you know, we're of course also looking at hiring and setting up a fully, you know, DeFi focused team probably in the future. So I would really encourage somebody with like an extensive machine learning background. I think that could be interesting for, you know, a matching engine that we're maybe or maybe not going to build, or, you know, like that could be interesting. So definitely, if you feel that you can add anything, you can of course always apply. And I think we probably also have more community roles or, you know, other roles to fulfill. And Robert always wants to build more of a DAO. So we probably should, I don't know if that's possible, but maybe look into some of these things that we can have like some people that if they want to add something with their skills, that we can reward them in certain ways. So yeah, we can always look into that. And definitely machine learning background is always super interesting because that's a very complicated field. So yeah, always interesting to hear about your experience and skills.
Mm-hmm. In cybersecurity expert, I remember I saw this designation that we were looking for. What would you say?
Yeah, so wow, I'm amazed that so many people are looking for want to work with us. That's amazing. And cybersecurity right now, I'm basically, I'm doing so much. So I would say definitely we need a cybersecurity expert to help us. We don't have that right now directly on the hiring pod, but we definitely need this once we are building our bridge. So please, if you're a cybersecurity expert, reach out to us, and we would definitely are interested in keeping closer contact with you and having you on the forum. So, you know, definitely also check out the forum, Linux Tux. That's a nice name.
So Linux Tux, you've got another great question here, maybe for Robert and Derek. You want to be other people's banks, other companies' banks?
Well, it is a it is a good question. I don't know about every shitcoin that's out there, but you know, we are very friendly for crypto, and we're, you know, I mean, it is a problem. You know, I think the problem's getting a little bit better sometimes, but you know, even for us, there's always a challenge dealing with the banks, and so we're very crypto friendly, but that doesn't mean we turn a blind eye to, you know, AML or KYC. Like we do that. We just do it in, like, I think, a very sophisticated way. So, you know, we're just, to be honest, we're just so busy building out the basic product and like preparing for the story to be told and the launch to retail. We don't have it on our plans to talk to others. But, you know, particularly since MakerDAO joined us, a couple of other crypto projects have said to us, hey, we like the idea, not just for us being their bank, but like we have all these functionality. Like we're basically comparable to Revolut. I mean, we'll offer the same things that Revolut does. We'll offer in like a fiat wallet, you know, many different currencies, 34, like Elsa said, we're doing like FX at mid-market rates. We're plugged into 17 local currency areas, from like ACH in the United States, faster payments in the UK, SEPA, through to Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia. So yeah, well, I think eventually we probably will be interesting for other crypto projects that, you know, it's not perfectly composable on the fiat side, but this is what we like. You know, our bigger picture is to help people make their money work harder for them. So if we can help the crypto community, that's for sure what we want to do.
Amazing. Okay, so kind of running short of time, and we're just going to have to be a bit selective here with the questions now. Is there any forecast for number of users by the end of 2021 or 22?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we've it's hard to guess because we've been institutional focused up until now. So we're opening this up to retail as well. So, you know, we're you know, Damian Horner keeps challenging us. Who are going to be the early adopters? How are we going to use this? How are we going to do our marketing? And one of the greatest things that we have is our community. And Derek and I, when we really when we thought about basically listing the shares as equity tokens, like, the first essentially regulated company to have equity tokens on Uniswap, we were really hoping to build a community, and it's really pleasantly surprised us. I mean, we have like lots of active people. I speak to some really fascinating people, Derek and Amadeo and the rest of the team as well. And Derek, we have like we have how many like token holders now? I mean, it's over 3,000.
Last time I checked, it was 3660 or something like that.
So we're hoping that these people will really help us, like word of mouth, like recommendation of Cresco, whether you're in Latin America or Asia or Europe, North America. This is really what we're looking for. So I think officially we put down like a number because we had to guess with like Visa and MasterCard, and I think we were guessing between 50 and 100,000 users in the next 12 months. So, but that's a guess. Of course, I'll be really disappointed if it doesn't go into the millions and millions. So, but we're working on it.
Okay, and let's pick one final one maybe. Okay, so how about this one? What do you say, Derek?
Yeah, this is all in motion, and if anybody's ever done business in the Arab world, I think you'll understand that it's an interesting process. So we have the package together, the outline, and it's sitting on some desks right now in Dubai. People that we're waiting for that ruling, which once we have the big stamp from an Islamic scholar, then it goes into a bespoke vehicle, Sharia compliant fund.
Okay, great. And I just had to stick this one as well. And are there any plans to have a higher interest rate product that's insured in the future?
Well, our core product.
Go ahead.
Well, the core product, the core, there's a cost to insurance. So the core product is kind of what it is for the insurance, the rate that's insured. But the three of us, Derek and Amadeo and I have been talking about introducing other products in the future that may be not insured, but that offer this higher rate. So it's kind of funny because you say in the real world or the traditional world, if you offer 3% insured in dollars, people think it's a scam because it's so high. And then because you get like so little in the bank today. And then if you send it to people from DeFi, they yawn. So, Derek and Amadeo and I are like, well, I don't know. What do you think, Derek, Amadeo?
Yeah, so like I really see a lot of opportunities there for sure. And I'm particularly looking a lot like at interest rate swaps, where basically you can offload a part of the risk by somebody wants to take the other side of the risk, right? And what you need to understand, I think, in these products, it's always like risk offloading, because if you get the 3% insured yield, this basically means that the insurance company takes on the risk of the loan not going well, right? And in DeFi, we just need to find then counterparties that can take that other side of the bet and then want to take the loan. And like it's funny, like for me as a DeFi native person, I would rather have cryptographic trust than legal trust, right? But in the traditional world, they value legal trust over cryptographic trust. So we need to find a good common ground there, I think.
Yeah, and I think getting insurance into DeFi is a really interesting problem to solve, and it leads right into probably what we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks. So we're looking heavily into how we can insure some of these DeFi protocols, what the risks are, and how we can help Cresco Fin and others in DeFi benefit from that.
There's a good question in the group as well about Alchemix. I know that Christina's keen on it, and so are you, right, Amadeo?
Oh yes, I love Alchemix, and that's like these are the DeFi primitives that me and Robert like when we call each other or when we have a conversation, we can keep on talking for hours about how cool it is and how it works. And yeah, I mean, these things are just completely new. Maybe Derek, correct me if I'm wrong, but it like a self-repaying loan, unlike your principal. That's something I never saw in any retail product or any institutional product for that. Say maybe in like a very complex structured financial product, but I never saw something like this offered. So Alchemix is super amazing, and it would be super cool that you can actually have your crypto, take a loan, transfer to fiat, buy a boat, buy a car, and then have your loan repay itself. So that's it's amazing, and I'm very blown away by it, actually. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's with a heavy heart that we have to say that's all the time we have for today. Don't worry, this happens every 2 weeks at the very latest, and it's going to be our pleasure to keep answering the questions of the community. But for now, let's
see the dogs before we go. Let's see Monty and
good idea.
Tyron. We know that everybody's here only to see the dogs.
Monty, just as a spoiler for the next one in 2 weeks, you'll have to watch the old 80s movie Caddyshack to really understand what's going on. Come here, Monty.
Oh, look at. Oh, there we go. Good boy.
You can see that Derek is a big
He's
fan
just
of
been
Dogecoin.
making noises for the last 30 minutes. So no, not birds. Tyron.
Tyron, yeah, with his toy. It's funny.
Hey.
Okay, thanks to everybody. We've got to jump
Good
because
stuff.
we've got another meeting now. So
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Take care.
In a couple of weeks.
Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Bye.